Fudge. I've got the endings of flu type A after being sick all week with a cold. And I have spent every amount of free time possible, including the last 3 hours, vibe coding, trying to get my YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, social post uploader working so that we can grow this podcast, Jason.
Yeah.
And finally get some listeners.
That's the one impediment is your vibe coding skills. That's what's kept us back these many years.
You don't blame the service, right? You blame
exactly. Yeah.
I'm the problem in the vibe coding. Is that what you're saying?
I'm doing the same thing. And it takes a lot of like, you're wrong, AI. You're wrong. And eventually you get there, right? Where are you at? Like, what percentage do you think you're done? And then what percentage?
YouTube's working great because YouTube is very easy to work with, but the Instagram, or you have to have the Instagram business account, and then you have to have the Facebook page that's associated with your Facebook account. And then those all have to be linked together. And somewhere in the midst, one of them, the permissions is not correct, or it's the wrong OAuth token or whatever the fuck. So that's just.
And you have to set up your page that you didn't expect. The Facebook one is the big whammy. You're like, I just want to have a presence or run ads here or something. And then it's like, no, you need to actually operate as a business here. It was a surprise, right?
Just logging into Facebook for the first time in like 5 years and looking around, I was like, what the fuck is this, man? Yeah. That's weird. When's the last time you went on, Jason?
I don't use Facebook at all. I've given up on Instagram. I do use WhatsApp, so I'm not free of the Meta family of products. WhatsApp is like the dominant communication channel for the parents in my school.
Right. We do that. We have that.
I'm on WhatsApp a fair amount, and I have one group chat. One of my group chats. Most of my group chats are Signal based, but my one of them is WhatsApp based for whatever reason. And I wish it wasn't. I resent that it is. But yeah, it seems.
Brian,
fun.
are you on the dad's chat, or are you on the family chat as well?
I'm on both, but I usually use WhatsApp to tell people I don't use WhatsApp, and it's a little sad. It's like, and right from the beginning, it's like, I went on a date once, and she was like, "I believe in the Lord our Savior," and that was like principle one, and that's her version of that. It's an awkward beginning, but
that's a tough start.
And that's how I treat WhatsApp. Like, I will never be here, but thank you.
Yeah. I don't like the look of it. I don't like its vibe. I disagree with it in general, and I wish it didn't exist, but here we are.
I want to know what service embodies your spirit.
I think Signal is, in terms of chatting, Signal or just the standard Apple message app. I really like. I wish the standard the Apple message app
just
had
do it all.
deleting messages, and an encryption for groups, and I would be done.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to. We practice clean OPSEC here, so I'm not going to ask you any follow-up questions about that. But I do want to ask Brian, since you are joining us and you're the only one among us who has done this. How do you design a Magic the Gathering set? So you used to work in R&D at Wizards of the Coast. Back in the day, you worked on the original Lorwyn and Ravnica releases. Jason, you know those ones, those old classics. So Brian, what is the process for designing a set? Just like help us understand that.
Comprehensive Bible. No, yeah, you start out with the elders will get together and talk about what they think would be really compelling themes, and then they try to figure out what will make them special at a marketing level. So if it doesn't sound exciting in concept, it doesn't move forward. And so in general, they'll take ambitious swings to make sure they're making the product as interesting as possible at concept, and then they try to distribute over the course of like 5 years what they're going to do when, so that they can plan out, how the game's going to evolve and how it's going to change and feel different over time. And then you'll have a group that goes and makes the cards, the initial pass, and they're kind of thinking from a marketing perspective and a fun perspective, and then they pass it on to final design, art, editing, all these different groups, and they make it play as best as possible and make it commercially as best as possible for release. And so they've
Do
always
you have
had
like
two
big? Do
forks.
you have like big spreadsheets and shit of like all the kind of stuff that you're going to do and how you balance and how much power does this card have? Like, how do you decide if it's 5 or if it's 3 colorless versus 2 specific mana, or whether is all that coded up somewhere? Or are you guys doing that all in your heads?
No, we
Back in
have
2003.
spreadsheets where so each of us on the development side will say how good we think a card is or how interesting a card is, and then we'll compare versus everyone else. And so the process at Wizards is all about getting different perspectives and getting divergent perspectives to get expert opinion on what you think is going to connect for players or not, and what's going to be good or not. And you try to massage each set so that it's marketable enough, so that it's balanced in the right ways. And it's definitely a very human-made product. You need that level of expertise. But we're all wearing robes and we're in some society of. It definitely has that vibe of like the ivory tower a bit.
That's interesting.
But yeah, you're playing, getting feedback, talking with each other, playing more after you're making changes. And so the Magic that I've played more than any never existed. And we're constantly like weighing the court of opinion, right? It's not that different from like the legal system or a government, right?
But
Yeah,
you guys were also. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
No. You go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say you guys were also hot shit at that point, right? Like Wizards was. I mean, I remember in 2000 when I went to Gen Con and Wizards had just bought D&D, and it was like they were top of the world. It just felt like anything could happen. And you worked on the Star Wars trading card game. You guys had Harry Potter. Other ones, you guys had Pokemon.
Yeah, they were incentivized to sign everything. So there was some like reason that the people who were selling the company would make more money and essentially earn higher earnouts. So they signed like every IP, like football, basketball, MLB, everything. And so when I get there, they have to pay off those debts. And so we're constantly like making these games we've agreed to make that were fun to make alongside Magic. But it was definitely like a startup feeling almost. In retrospect, it's been interesting talking to all of the people who were there in that first decade. It's much more of a startup in spirit than I realized at the time, which makes sense. It started
In Seattle,
early 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Well, so, and then also the other thing, so this is all coming from the book that you just wrote, Alternate Worlds, which I finished last night, which is really, really fun. It's just like all these little stories connected that talk about, your time before working on Magic and after a little bit. But I was just sort of curious. You ended up on the professional Magic tournament circuit. But one thing you described in the book also is playing in the World Series of Poker. So I'm kind of curious.
Big
how
crossover.
do you
Big Magic poker crossover.
Is there?
There is.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Really?
I talked about before, maybe not, Matt, if this seems new to you, but at my bachelor party, professional player / Magic player David Williams came and ran a poker tournament for me and the groomsmen.
Really?
Yeah, which was
That's
really
pretty
fun.
wild.
Yeah, which was great.
How did you find him? How did you?
I have a friend, shout out Checky, who lives in Vegas, who is essentially one of the most connected people in Vegas, knows everyone there and knows everyone in poker. And
Dave just lives there.
Yeah, he just lives there. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw Dave. So I was at the World Series, and the last memory I have before I go back to Seattle to Wizards, I see Dave before the World Series that year, just playing in a money table, like a shootout table, and then he finishes second. And he's he's still someone who's been in the Magic community since. So we've seen each other at events and whatnot. But it was pretty wild. He's had a cool career. He was on MasterChef. He finished second, right?
Yeah, he did the chef thing too. Yeah, exactly.
Wild.
It's pretty. He's
some
a
weird
pretty fun
people.
guy. Really fun to hang out with. Really chill. Not everyone in poker is a chiller, but he is a chiller.
That's pretty
Jason,
cool.
Yeah.
Jason, do you want to come with Brian and I to MagicCon in May? Come on, hang out, play some Magic, play some poker.
I don't leave
You
the
like
house.
Vegas?
I don't leave the house is my
That's what I say usually.
my main thing. I stay at home and that's what I do. I do love Vegas. I miss Vegas terribly. My last trip to Vegas was so amazing. that I feel I can never return because I was just like, oh, I was too lucky. I like squeezed everything
Go
out of this
on.
place, and like I have to just kind of never go back. So, but yeah, I love Vegas. I've never been a Magic the Gathering player, as we talked about in previous episodes. I liked, I'm not against it. I've never played. I think partly because I also don't like, with the exception of poker, like having to interact with real people in the real world. So that's like part of the impediment for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was compiling, I can send you this after, but I was compiling this retort. So there was an article in 1997 written by someone for Spin, the magazine, and they're talking about magic, and it's a hit piece. It wasn't something that was celebratory, but we thought it was going to be, so we were all really
Right.
excited. And when you look at what has happened with that cohort of people who gravitated towards the game, David Williams goes in
Yeah.
his direction. There are many like very successful poker players, but there are also many successful people in like finance, sports betting, game making, and it's a really impressive cohort that I didn't expect to go on in that direction. So there's something in all of the journeys that I'm going on. I'm like, what are we supposed to take away from this like window 30 years ago? Because something went really right, from what I can tell.
I think that for me, like I'm also not a chess player, so I've always been suspicious of chess as a game that people put a lot of importance on in terms of like, oh, you must be
Oh
a
yeah.
genius if you can play chess. I'm like, that's just like a very particular game that some people have a
You
particular
memorize some shit and
kind
then you
of
could do it.
like a particular pattern awareness ability to reason spatially, like, but like chess is also a game of perfect information. Like there's no, like there's a set number of pieces and squares. Whereas like Magic and poker and other adversarial games that have imperfect information, the other proxy that you see in poker a lot is backgammon, because like there's an element of chance in backgammon. There's a huge element of chance in backgammon, and so like there's in all of these games that have imperfect information, they're both the ones that computers have a harder time solving, although that's like sort of ceased to be somewhat true with any of those. And like they have more cross applicability to other arenas such as like finance, where you have imperfect information about what the other side is doing. So there is real cross applicability to other game like environments there. And the stuff that's happened in poker, we've talked about it briefly on the pod before, but the stuff that's happened in poker in the last, say, 5 years with the advent of solvers, and like the ability to kind of come up with, to know what like these game theory optimal solutions are for the game, is really, really interesting, both from a computational perspective and just like if you're interested in games perspective, what it means for poker, because the computer finds these totally bizarre solutions that you just would never otherwise come across. So yeah, I don't know. Those are.
Can you give an example of that? Like what would
Yeah,
that,
there's
what would
like
that
there's
look
these
like?
things in poker. There's these things that poker solvers find where it's like, oh, like you should be incredibly aggressive in this spot with like specifically the 9 of hearts, 7 of clubs, but not, for example, the 9 of hearts, 7 of spades. And it's not as though there's like an obvious flush on the board where
Statistical,
those suits
Right.
would like clearly play in. And it's such a particular strategy that no human would ever come up with it, because you wouldn't be able to memorize that spot. But it's because of like the interaction of like the cards that, okay, if you have one more heart, that means that he's less likely to have one, blah 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 blah. And so there's these weird edges that it finds in the game tree that no human would find. And then it does like these crazy, it goes like 2x with a total bluff with like, with a hand that's, again, like 9 of hearts, 7 of spades, but it would never do that with 9 of hearts, 7 of clubs or something. And it's just like, okay, like that's the answer, but how are we meant to understand the answer? It's very interesting.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
God is in the details, just coming out.
Yeah, maybe we should start. Maybe we should have Poker Hand of the Week on the pod. We can bring. I've been posting some poker hands in the Discord every once in a while from like the various streams of
It's
interesting
good.
pots that happen. Yeah.
People still play online a lot, or is it more real life now because bots become so good?
I think people, there is still robust online play, but it is so the assumption is you're up against the supercomputers now, like 100,
Mm-hmm.
even at the lowest stakes. It was assumed for a while. I was like, okay, like that's, like there's games you can play where that's not true. And now it's just clearly everyone's getting worked. And then all of like the high stakes play has moved to private games that are invite only. So like this is like a big point of frustration among pros because you have to be kind of invited to the game, and like no one wants to set up a private game with like a bunch of the best players in the world. You want to have the, rich businessmen fish. And so like, it's like, how do you get into these games? You have to like sort of agree to do things that like, put you at a disadvantage in the game, and like all this weird stuff that happens.
You have to hang out with the all-in guys.
You have to hang out with these guys, or you have to specifically kick back. And then there's like lots of cheating in these online, because it's like very easy to like also cheat people outside the casino. So it's very it's a tricky word. It's interesting because like we were talking about this in the tech channel today, and I do feel that like since the crypto boom, like crypto, NFTs, and now predictive markets have kind of normalized a sort of
insider trading,
insider trading, lack of morals, like just cheating, for lack of a better word. Like crypto, NFTs, we're all about like, sort of scamming people at the end of the day, as disguised as community and all these other things. And, now you've got like sort of this insider trading stuff with predictive markets, and it's just like there's no civic virtue anymore constraining that behavior.
We did vote for that. We voted for cheating versus not cheating. That's actually, I think, the fork.
Yeah. It's upsetting. I feel it's like a society death wish, where it's just like if everything's permitted, you can kind of like play the game with any set of rules that you make up. I just feel it's like, well, it's not going to end up well. It's just that devolves to a might makes right mentality pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be a very popular piece. So much so, Jason, that we are rescheduling next week's episode. We are doing an emergency podcast movie substitution for next week because, we are on record last week. We're against any attack against Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Trump did not get that message, apparently.
No, he didn't listen to the pod. Maybe he didn't like Cable Guy. Maybe the problem was that Cable Guy just wasn't. I could see that not being his kind of movie, frankly.
It's a special taste.
Bat and Spider, he could be good for horror movies, maybe. But
yeah.
What happened? Did Ben pinged you?
Ben Rhodes, former Deputy National Security Advisor, pinged me. And was like, what? I've been booked on the Ezra Klein show to talk about Iran, but what I really want to do is come on Escape Hatch and talk about Iran in the context of the hit Academy Award winning Ben Affleck starring whatever year it's from, Argo.
Argo, yeah.
Yeah. So
can I just say, when guests go on Ezra and then come straight to Escape Hatch, that makes me feel very good.
Yeah, you do that. Like Ezra's kind of, as I think most people know, Ezra is basically the JV league of podcasts, and we're the pros. So it's getting called up to the show when you go from Ezra to us. That's how it works.
Like he's like the lightning rod. You go there for like the traumatizing experience, and then you come here for like the soothing afterwards.
That's right. That's right. We're the spa. We're like sort of the Ayurvedic spa of.
We'll see. We're gonna have some emotions, I think, coming through this movie.
Incidentally, Ben was fantastic on this episode of the Ezra Klein Show, with either dropped today or yesterday, I don't know which, talking about the current situation with Iran, and Ben's depth of knowledge about the region and Iran in particular, having worked on the Iran nuclear deal, is it's always impressive to me when you meet people who actually know things as opposed to me.
I read his yesterday. I was reading his New York Times opinion piece, and it was like for the last 2 or 3 paragraphs, every single sentence was an absolute banger, and they just kept going. The stakes just kept ramping up and up and up, and I was like, my God, we cannot keep living like this. We have to have some kind of way to let some air out of the balloon. I'm just praying that will happen. So
that was there.
that is next week. We're very excited to have Ben Rhodes. For today, we're going to be talking, Brian, we're so stoked to have you here.
Yes.
Brian Schneider.
Very excited to do this movie.
author, founder, and we are going to be covering in just a minute the 2000 Gen X apotheosis, High Fidelity.
Fidelity.
Before we do that, Jason, can we do some quick Hatch news?
Hatch news from beyond.
I have no Hatch news.
Well, Timothy didn't win the BAFTA or the actor for best actor. He lost to.
But he did get married. No, Tom got married.
Tom got married. That Zendaya got married.
Tom and Zendaya got married.
Secret
That's
wedding.
Hatch news.
Were you invited?
Yes. No. Even though it's probably in Tiburon.
It probably was because they live out there now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. How's that make you feel to not be invited? Tough one for
I'm hoping that, maybe a couple of years from now, they'll be joining Sam's school. And so we'll have a good
you.
time.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. We're voting. We're working on the next generation of babies.
I feel like Matt lives at a different level, of experience than just this podcast even.
It's just a level of being excited about the possibility of making some connections. Correct.
Absolute delusion. like there's some chance he hasn't said. I was going to ask, but I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess, and you'll tell me, Matt, if I'm high or low. The percentage, the likelihood that in your own mind you thought you were going to get invited to Tom and Zendaya's wedding in Tiburon. I'm going to put the over under at 5%.
It's definitely under.
If
I understand how betting works, my expectation of that would be 0%. If I tripped and
I think if
fell
I
off.
hadn't said 5, you would have said 5. I think you're now trying to save faith.
It was a high anchor.
Yeah.
No. I'm not that psychotic, but I'm glad to know that you think that I am. Are you guys ready to get into this movie?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. High Fidelity is,
no synopsis.
or will he discover
his
High Fidelity?
Matt did not. Claude ate his synopsis.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. It's already been fixed in post. What a synopsis!
Incidentally,
what a synopsis!
A thing we can do is I can just tell the transcript app to look at the synopses for all 300 episodes that we've done, and for any movie that comes up next, I can have it write a synopsis in the style of that. Probably will crush.
I dare you. I dare you.
I think it will probably work, and then you'll be able to go back to whatever you're doing.
Oh my God. Uncut users, I hope you just enjoyed that.
Yeah.
What a synopsis.
What a synopsis. Really crushed it. Good work.
Thank you so much. Brian, what was your first experience with High Fidelity?
Yeah, I would...
Book first?
I think it's book first, yeah. I'm a big Nick Hornby fan. I've read a lot of his books. I've read all of his Believer articles from the aughts, so he's one of my guys. And it still holds up. It's heartwarmingly honest. People aren't perfect, man. People aren't perfect. In fact, they mess up constantly. They're unredeeming at many points. I like that.
That resonates. And then the movie, did you go in? How was it as you experienced it as a book reader the first time?
I thought it was great. I was not surprised how much I liked it, but I love the style, the voiceover. It's almost like he's in a play version of the book. I thought both were either 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 for me. Really enjoyable experiences.
Nice. And Jason, what about you?
Saw the movie when it was released, would have seen it in the theater, maybe saw it once after that. And have not watched it since. Will not have seen it in what year is this movie? Is it 2000?
2000.
Yeah, it's it feels, doesn't it feel exactly like the last pre 9/11 movie ever made, basically? It just there's, you can tell this is a pre 9/11 movie.
Yeah.
And yet it also feels almost it feels almost like it could be right up to the date. Yeah, I would have seen it then, and have not revisited since, and never read the book.
Are you a music guy?
No,
We'll get all into it. Believe me,
it'll be my first point.
We're gonna we're gonna get into it.
It'll be my first point.
I also saw this in the theater. I saw it on DVD. I was at the time. I think this maybe was my first real introduction to Jack Black. But it must have been. I must have been partially. Yeah, by that summer, it kind of all happened because there was this. I was doing Shiny Thing. I had quit Critical Path and started my own company, which was soon to explode. But in that brief window when we were still going, the Tenacious D album was out, and the Tenacious D TV show we watched over and over and over again. So I was a huge Jack Black fan. And I love this movie. And then the soundtrack just was on constant rotation for a decade. So I have strong ties to it, but then I had not watched it at all in probably 20 years. And so this was really fun to pick it up and revisit. So we'll do some quick behind the scenes before we get in. So as you called out, Brian, this is based on the novel by Nick Hornby. He did High Fidelity. He did About a Boy, Fever Pitch. Later wrote the script for An Education, Wild, which was the Reese Witherspoon backpacking movie, which I took April on an early date to go see up in Sonoma. That was fun. And then she also did Brooklyn, which I never saw, with Saoirse Ronan, which looks like a serious movie. It looks very good, but this was optioned by Touchstone in '95, and Scott Rosenberg is hired to write a script. And Rosenberg, listen to this. This is a natural fit for this. He did doobie-doo. Oh, shit. God damn
it. Boo this man.
I deleted it from the...
Boo! No synopsis. Doesn't know shit about what's going on.
We could probably make up some details.
Okay, so Scott Rosenberg wrote the script for Con Air, Gone in 60 Seconds, Jumanji: The Next Level. So obviously, a perfect match for this film. Joe Roth, who was the head at the time of Touchstone, was talking with a record exec named Kathy Nelson, and she said, listen, you should connect with John Cusack and his partners Steve Pink and D.V. DeVencinitas after she'd worked with them on Grosse Point Blank. And they did. They reached out to them, and they wrote a treatment, and it was immediately greenlit. And Rosenberg said, yeah, just take me off. And then at the last minute changed his mind and said, no, don't take me off. And the WGA used to have a rule that said whoever was the first writer, no matter if not a single thing was ever used, they still automatically get full credit. That has since changed. But so he did get credit alongside the other three who did there. Now, they moved it from London to Chicago, which I was very confused. I was looking at it. I've never lived in New York, although I've been there plenty of times. I was trying to figure out what neighborhoods they were in. Where was the record store? Where was he coming from? Was he coming from Brooklyn or Bushwick or somewhere out there where they're going to explain it? And then I saw the river and I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute. This is Chicago. Mm-hmm. So it's weird to me that this is set in Chicago. And I'll note the High Fidelity TV series, which came out 5 years ago or whatever, it had one season, was set in New York City.
Oh.
Yeah, the Chicago. Spend any time in Chicago?
Strange. The Chicago of it's strange.
Yeah, it is a little strange.
I feel it should have been kept in London.
Yeah. Really? English?
Yeah, because it's like
You think it should have been Hugh Grant as fucking Rob?
The movie makes a lot more sense to me, as about a boy companion piece, where it's sort of this misanthrope, a permanently arrested, boy man who's it just makes more sense to me English than it does.
Do English people know about music the way we do?
I mean, half of the music in this movie is English. So
Nick Hornby wrote the book.
Yeah.
It feels very American to me, but okay, I'll take that under
under advisement. See what pops
Filmed in Chicago. filmed in Chicago in 99 in April, Wicker Park, Biography Theater, a bunch of authentic local music venues. In the end, the budget on this film, $30 million. Worldwide did $47 million. So didn't quite get it done.
Didn't quite shake the world.
No, but shaking the world at the box office in July of 2000. The Perfect Storm, Scary Movie, X-Men, Gone in 60 Seconds, Mission Impossible 2, Boo, Gladiator, Croupier, The Virgin Suicides, and Groove.
This is kind of like a bunch of mid titles you just listed there. That's like
a lot.
That's like
a lot.
Blockbuster row right there.
This is why 9/11 happened. It was like culture
shake us up.
Culture becomes stagnant.
Oh my God. Claude, edit that out. Brian, you pick this movie. Where do you want to start? What is your first point on this film?
Why is Tim Robbins in the film? I love Tim Robbins.
Good note. I like this. I like the first note.
He is such a weird character.
Yeah.
I love Tim Robbins. And in the 90s, he's a star. What's he doing in this film as a bit character? Go on.
Great questions. Great question.
The reveal of him during the sex scene was like a literal jump scare for me. I was like, "Oh my God,
yeah.
Tim Robbins! Whoa!"
Yeah, total surprise.
I think this is a great note. I definitely was surprised that Tim Robbins was in the movie, and I hadn't really thought of the fact that it was like, oh, this is like during the Tim Robbins like power curve.
Tim's Robinsons.
Yeah, and so it is a good question of like what producer convinced him to do this random part for funsies.
He's in Tapeheads, right? He's in Tapeheads with Cusack.
So maybe they were just boys.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're bros. Tapeheads, classic of the late 80s. It was really weird. Although that did lead to my favorite scene in the whole movie, which is the scene of him coming into the store.
The triple take.
Yeah, the triple take. It's just so much fun.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree that scene is very funny, and I had forgotten how. I was surprised by how long the bit went on for. Like they really give it space, like to play out. And when the little meek soy boy guy pulls off the thing off the wall, it's very funny. Like it really is quite good.
That definitely worked. Well, that ties into my first point, which is just the meta nature of this film. Starting with the opening monologue, which is so strong, right? What came first, the music or the misery? Nobody writes about kids listening to hundreds of thousands of songs about loss. Am I miserable because of the music, or I listen to the music because I'm miserable? Just super strong, but all of the notions of breaking the fourth wall, how they played that out. Jason, we've talked about that before, whether voiceover can work and whether breaking the fourth wall can work. And it always comes down to, if you're good and you know what you're doing, that shit can be amazing.
Yeah, you can make it work.
And it certainly works here.
I think it does work here. This ties into my first point as well, which is like sort of the meta nature of the movie. And one thing I clocked was that it is 40 minutes into the movie and they are still doing his top 5 breakups of all time. Like again, like just on the point of like extending the bit, like they really fucking go for it in terms of like, okay, like, he's like, we're still recounting what happened with these relationships as we're building the world of this movie. Like it's still in some way the preamble. And we're 40 minutes in, which is like on the page, like a pretty daring choice to think that that's going to work out, in my opinion.
It shows you how obsessed he is and how completely in the swamps of sadness, he exists.
It's not really like, I guess that's like one of the things that like maybe is my second point, not to like jump right ahead, but like, I'm not really sure I understand if it's sadness or like what's going on, because it's like he's
wounded pride.
Yeah, it feels more egotistical than sadness, right? It feels like these breakups, the problem is like and they kind of play this for laughs a few times where it's like, oh, like, he's not going to get back together. He was like, oh, right. Like I broke up with her like that, this girl that like I was trying to pressure into sex. And like, so like, it wasn't the case that like she broke my heart. Like I broke up with her because she wouldn't like, have sex with me at 16 or whatever. Like I'm fine now. And it's like, okay. So like, it's not like you're really like emotionally shattered by the breakup or the loss. It's more that like your pride was wounded. You want to make sure that you're winning in some sense, that you're not like sort of the loser in these interactions. It's a little darker than, it's not romantic in any way.
No,
That's right. Yeah.
But it's
He's
sort
not
of
redeeming,
presented
right?
as, it's presented as romantic from the beginning, which is like he's listening to sad music and he's like got a broken heart, and you're like, oh, pop music is like how we understand these feelings. But it's not actually romantic. It's not actually about like sort of the dominance or the importance or the exploration of like romantic love or the depth of feeling or whatever. It's about egotism and some form of misanthropy.
I would say that's what the record collection's about, right? Like he hides his memories in all of those, like romantic sentiments are captured in the memories that he
Right.
gets from all
Right.
these records. And
Right.
that's the level at which he's comfortable enough with the reality as opposed to the fantasy, right?
Yeah.
keeping it away, externalizing it. I mean, I totally agree with you. The misanthropy is there, and I think it is the wounded ego. But I think underlying all that is a sadness and a fear that he is not good enough and that he is going to be left alone, and so therefore he sabotages all of the relationships that he's in. Until he can begin to try and figure out how to deal with that. I think they said at one point that he's supposed to be 26 or something, and I think for sure Cusack by 2000.
He's 35, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
he's a little bit past beyond that. Like, so I actually did not relate this time watching it. I had already been married for 7 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
In 2000, this didn't hit for me quite the same way as if I was kind of like just wandering around in that wilderness.
Yeah,
Brian, I thought about it almost where you talked about, kind of dropping out of school or, taking time there or leaving Wizards and just like taking a year and a half to try and figure out what you're doing. Like those moments kind of, I could have imagined those resonating more with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you don't always know what direction to go in, right? Sometimes you get tired or you stop essentially doing enough new things that might spur you to do something interesting. And so you get into ruts, and those end up being really dangerous. And you see that in Laura, the relationship with Laura. They just have been in a rut. And like for whatever reason, Rob just can't break from those loops. It took a long time. It's been interesting doing the calls that I've been doing with the podcast because I'm doing it in a 2-month period. And so you don't have as much time to let things breathe and bake, and it just requires it. Humans don't get to great ideas very quickly. It takes iteration. And relationships too.
Have you tried? Yeah, maybe Jason would suggest you just try playing World of Warcraft.
Just obsessively.
Addictively for a year or two and then come out.
Yeah, just like try. I mean, I think it's not, more people don't understand how important that is in the process, is just the time playing WoW.
Apparently the whole fourth wall element was inspired by Michael Caine's Alfie, which I have not seen still. I need to check that out. And Cusack was worried about it, but then was willing to go for it. But I just love the rest of the meta elements that you have there. All of the flashback to being 14, making out in high school. She's so nice. She wouldn't let me put my hand on top of her bra. Attack and defense. What was rightfully ours, like it's just so funny and so relatable. That idea of feeling so hurt because this girl that you were making out with yesterday is suddenly with another guy and you're out. And then you got to try and figure out what to do from there.
Yeah.
What about just sort of like walking through, Jason, you called out the breakouts. When we got to like the Catherine Zeta-Jones, I was
Jesus
like, oh
Christ.
God, what?
Well, this is so this is like kind of the point, like where I didn't at the time. I think at the time I kind of bumped on it, and now I don't bump on it as hard because I'm 50, but like it still doesn't quite resonate for me, which is just like when I saw this movie, I think I had broken up, like I think I had broken up with like the first serious relationship of my life, and like, you know, was like I had like moved out on my own and was like, okay, well, that was like the only relationship I've ever really had, and now that one's over. And like he's like being all, and I'm like essentially the same age as the character in this movie, and he's like all bummed because like, you know, one of his like 5 relationships is with like the hottest woman of all time, and it's like, yeah, it's like I was like, I don't know what to tell you, like this doesn't seem that fucking bad to me. Like, you know, don't be sad because it's over. Be grateful that it happened, my guy. Like, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that I definitely sort of, and then in the course of this movie, you know, he hooks up with he hooks up with what's her face, and it's like, you know, the hottest, like, you know, singer has this, you know,
Lisa Bonet,
yeah. Exactly. And like I'm like, all right, like, you know, how bad is this guy's fucking life? Like, it seems like, you know, he broke up with this one girl who like kind of seems like whatever anyway. He had sex with Lisa Bonet. Like, you know, either can get back together with her or like this like 20-year-old like writer from like, you know, like the newspaper seems to be interested in him. Like, you know, and like he you know, he hooked up with Catherine Zeta-Jones at all ever. Like, I'm like, all right, like, you know, like worse things have happened to better people.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
I didn't think, you know, shouting at her from outside her, Charlie, you fucking bitch, let's work it out.
That's pretty funny.
Not a very
I
good
do
winning
like the
strategy.
resolution of the relationship with Catherine Zeta-Jones, which is just that he realizes that she's terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it is true. It's a good point. We were all blinded for a minute because she's so hot, but she does suck. Good catch after several years.
Brian, what is your next point?
Yeah, I think there are 2 that I could potentially go to. I don't know if you picked it up when you were reading the book, but the relationships are one off. There's one difference between the book and the movie, because in the book, he ends up kind of worming his way into someone's relationship, and it ends up being incredibly unredeeming. So in the movie, they basically, the 5th person, they just blip over, and that character doesn't show up in the book. And so they did a lot of work, I think, to try to make John Cusack's character seem likable. But my question to you is, like, how successful were they? Like, is he redeeming as a character, or like, does the ending connect for you where he finally wakes up and he's like, oh, I'm a person, not a fantasy character? Is that a redeeming enough moment for all of the lead up where it's like, this guy's kind of not doing things well?
I will say it is not for me. Like I was watching the movie and I had forgotten. I really didn't remember how it ended. And I was just like, oh, he's definitely going to hook up with this younger writer version. And like even up until when he meets up with her at the bar. What's her, you know, and it tells her that he's thinking of like, you know, wants to propose to her. I'm like, oh, well, this is a fucking horrible proposal. Like this, she's just gonna say no and realize she's wasting her time with this fucking doofus. But instead, it's like meant to be like, no, he's like grown up and realized like he wants to make mixtapes for her. And I was like, oh, well, you're definitely just gonna get divorced. Like you suck as like a partner, and like you're not really deserving of adult relationship with anyone. So like, you know, whatever, hopefully it works out okay, but you're definitely gonna get divorced and lose half of your record store in the divorce.
I think that's a very fair reading of the text. I sort of felt like there's a moment that made me think about that in the final season of Girls. Did you finish that? You remember when Hannah and Adam go to the diner? Yeah, and they almost, it's like they're gonna do it. They're gonna be together, and then they both just realize they both turn away, and you're like, thank God. But so close to almost making that mistake. And I can't say for sure if if Laura hadn't been aware that he was thinking about making the mixtape for that girl, and he was like getting something over on her, I would have felt worse about how this was resolving. I did feel like at the end of the day, he finally was able to put himself, even in a small way, in Laura's place and think about her and think about what she might like to have that conversation with her.
Yeah.
So I found that one tiny uplifting bit. Yeah. I'm not saying.
Yeah. No, it is remarkable that at age, 23 and after 7 relationships, like he realized that like his partner has hopes and dreams as well, that maybe he should accommodate in his worldview, that it's not just purely about his obsessive desires and interests. That is a breakthrough of sorts. I think he maybe has a longer journey to go on before he becomes...
He's finally ready to start dating anyone. Like, this was
exactly.
the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be very concerned about fatherhood, like just sneaking up on him where he is now. But, best of luck to all parties involved.
I think that's very true, but I did find Cusack charismatic as hell. Like, he is really going for it. He is making himself very vulnerable. For me, it was like just like kind of the talking scenes were more powerful, but like him screaming in the rain, I kind of lost it all, faith, dignity, about 15 pounds. But then, Jason, he goes on to say, some people never get over NAMM, or when their band opened up for Nirvana. I mean, it was Green Day that I opened up for, not Nirvana, but who's counting?
Oh, okay. That really connected to you. That's what you're saying.
I felt seen.
Cool flex.
Yeah, you really backed into that fucking one.
It was a big relief, though, when at the end that he did that. Yeah. My question for you guys, is, just from watching this, was: has Gen X ever Gen X'd harder?
Yeah. I mean, I think a movie I've actually never seen is Slackers.
Me neither.
Which is like sort of held up to as I think the like definitive Gen X
Linklater
movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. We should do it probably as a Gen X pod.
But it's an independent, tiny little indie film.
But it's got all the people in it. I mean, it's not like,
Well, I don't remember the people. It's just people walking in Austin having weird conversations until it ends. My friends and family saw this with me, and I was like secretly in love with it, and they were all laughing at it the entire time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure.
That's interesting. I like that.
I definitely want to see it. I don't know if Ander's seen it, given all the time that she spent in Austin, but I definitely want to watch it. I just for me, the indignity of being Gen X, like we are the most abused, the most, tormented, the most ridiculed. To have Apple TV charge me $17.99.
It was a real price. I noticed that too.
This movie. I noticed
that too. I was like, what is going on with the price of this film? What am I buying?
Sons of bitches. They're like, we got you, motherfucker. You're buying
Elastic demand.
Jesus.
Yeah, I definitely.
No respect.
I definitely noticed that. I was like, I usually don't bump on like buying the movie for the pod. And I was like, holy fuck, man. Like, what the hell? Like,
there's a new rule for this podcast. If it's over a certain price, we don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we do it. We'll pay the price for the people.
We're paying the price every day.
Jesus, I couldn't believe that.
It was pricey.
Who among us
healthy premium?
Who among us smoked American Spirits? Like I did.
I didn't like American Spirits.
Really?
I was a Camel Light. I was a Camel Light guy.
I was a Camel Light guy before that. Yeah, for sure.
I can't but it was. It is definitively very Gen X-y. It is like it definitely captures an ethos of Gen X that I think is well observed. Like there's an aesthetic and an ethos of that time, of our generation, of what it meant to be coming of age in this like very strange, like kind of American era. And that I think is well observed and well noted in the film. And it
the one that got me was the bandana. I was like, oh no. Yeah. I did that. I did that for years.
I never did a bandana. That's shameful for me.
I didn't know
you
that.
did it?
No, I never did it.
Even with your David Foster Wallace?
No,
phase,
I think it was probably because of the David Foster Wallace love.
Wow.
Like, okay, we can't just bite the man's whole thing. Yeah, no, I did not. Bandana. There's sort of a feeling of like there's no existential risk to the characters in the movie. Like there's space for them to like just be like, I'm gonna own a record store, and like, I have these anxieties about what that means, but none of them are like economic anxieties. It's not like, how's it gonna fucking work out to own a record store,
To have three people working all day with no customers.
Like there's an abundance that like sort of is the context, or like, the background of the movie, that feels unrelatable. Stability, I guess, is another way of saying it. That feels unrelatable in a post 9/11 context, that I think is really stands out as a contemporary viewer. I was just listening to the Cable Guy episode and we talked about this in the intro last week, which is just like, it's a real shame that like 1996 was the best year that we'll ever have for the rest of our lives, because like that, like stability and like, sort of, there's just like, like economic stability and geopolitical stability and domestic stability, like none of that is replicable and was unlikely to recur in our life. That's a shame. That's a shame, and like really stood out on this watching, and is part of like the kind of context, or is sort of underpins a lot of like what it means to be Gen X and have grown up as Gen X.
Yeah, I wonder like how we connect to art today versus then. Like back then we would have shops, and that actually, they say it in the movie and in the book, it's what you are into is who you are, not who you are, right?
Yeah.
The commercialism, now it feels totally different. I don't know what the comp is or how people find art or connect to it, but I'm kind of curious. Like that's very distinct to this, where I don't know how like a 20-year-old, what are they connecting to now? Is it the same?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we're literally doing it right now. Like this is how we connect to it, right? Like we sit here and discuss it every week. We talk about, what it is and what it means to us. And so like, I think that's part of it is the broadcasting nature. And I think that's part of why the content creator thing resonates, right? And the idea of everybody having their own stream, and putting out what they care about and talking about and what they don't like. Although it's work. It's work to have to do it and make it happen. I think that's it for the Gen X thing. I don't think I ever had the idea of your mom starting to cry when she finds out that your girlfriend left you. Like that'd be a pretty tough one to have.
I love that conversation with the mom on the phone. That was so funny. I love the like he's like the whole end of that conversation with the mom like cracked me up. It was just like, she's like, like, I hope you're upset for me, and she's like, I am not. He's like, geez, fuck you, mom, or whatever. I was just like, that whole thing like really cracked me up. I love that whole thing. And Cusack is delightful, kind of doing that petulance. Whose point is it, Matt? Where are we?
You can go if you want. I'm ready to talk about the music.
You know what I'm going to do. So you let me know if you're ready for it.
So let me just say, Kathy Nelson was the music supervisor on this film.
Okay.
Let me just read you some credits for Kathy Nelson.
This is what they call a pre-budding in the business.
Kathy Nelson, music supervisor. Repo Man, Weird Science, Sid and Nancy, Pump Up the Volume, Point Break, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, Dangerous Minds, remember Coolio? Apollo 13, Mallrats, The Rock, Grosse Point Blank, Con Air, Armageddon.
I mean, that's not exactly
I don't
want
to close my eyes or whatever.
That's not exactly a movie.
Because I miss you, babe, and it's whatever. Rushmore, High Fidelity, Fast and the Furious, About a Boy, Too Fast, Too Furious, Pump It Up. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Shaun of the Dead, Knocked Up, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and Top Gun Maverick. And many, many, many more.
Yeah. Total.
Those are some of the greatest soundtracks in the history of cinema.
Total hack. No, she does. She obviously, there's a number of good things there. There's a bunch of movies you listed, which I do not think the soundtrack is a material contribution to the
Name
movie.
one. Name
I mean,
7.
Armageddon is like that. There's a movie single. It's not like the rest of it is score.
But it's literally the most memorable.
It's
thing
literally
of the,
the father of
movie.
the female lead. I mean, like they like I don't know what to tell you. Like, are you saying that like Robin Hood is a soundtrack driven movie because it has the one song?
Good point. Good point. Go ahead.
I think there's some really interesting like. For a movie that is about the importance of music, where like the obsessive, both the Gen X nature of the character and like his obsessive music collection, like collecting nature, and like so much of the world, how he sees the world is through the lens of music and music collecting. I think the movie could have done a better job on the Gen X soundtrack of it. That is my point. And I've done some analysis.
There's no new order.
I've done some analysis.
Okay.
The movie has like there's something like 50 songs. There's a lot of stuff from the early 70s and 60s. So my critique is that there's too much folk psychedelic rock stuff and that there's not actually enough punk. There's not enough punk new wave stuff. And for who this character is and the time in which he's working in the store, like those genres should be more represented than the more boomer choices that are in the soundtrack. That is my overarching critique. I will support that with some additional data points. One is like, there's, they name, and some of this just might be licensing. Because they're, you have to choose what you can get for a movie like this.
Yeah,
but
Jason,
like,
they're realities.
I feel like the Talking Heads 100% would have been, they name checked David Byrne and the Talking Heads. There's no way that the Talking Heads would not have been more important to him. It would have been a hugely important band. REM would have been a hugely important band to him. There's a whole branch of music that also includes New Order. Yeah, but like that just is absent, and it is the part that to me feels wrong because like this character is like someone whose music taste I can relate to. And you get some of it, like the drop of the Stereolab track, that is a fantastic song.
Bell and Sebastian. Yeah.
The Bell and Sebastian drop is great. The Beta Band drop is great. But there should have been more of that late 90s, early, like 2000. Obviously, we didn't get into.
But Oh Sweet Nothing, Velvet Underground was incredible.
Yeah, that again is like the beginning of the wave. That I'm talking, like, the Velvet Underground is like the very beginning of it. There just needed to be more of it and a little bit less like sort of the actual just classic rock stuff.
You were glad they were at least able to get not an old but a modern era Bob Dylan with most of the time.
I don't want to talk about Bob Dylan. And like, it's like Elton John, Barry White. Like, there's just a lot of like others, like Aretha Franklin. Like, there's just a lot of like, none of those are bad. Those are all like great musicians. It's just like for like the sort of particular kind of person he is, I just don't think it was right. The other, and this is just
what song was playing? What song was playing for his DJ set when Laura came up and introduced him?
That EDM track. So this is my other point that I was going to make. I don't actually know what song was playing.
Oh my.
Oh, is it Chemical Brothers? It's Chemical Brothers, right? Yeah. So this is my other point. Is he says explicitly that he likes everything except for rap. That's one of the genres that he like.
That's a mistake.
Which is like, that's indefensible. In 2000, to be a record store owner and a music fan and to just discount hip hop is indefensible. And in fact, like Eric B and Rakim are on the soundtrack. Like there is, and De La Soul is in the soundtrack too. Like there are hip hop, because you just can't not include it to be a movie about music, like at any time post 1980, but let alone in fucking 2000. And like the idea that he wasn't going to be into like some very weird, like late 90s hip hop is just incredulous. Like that just doesn't make any fucking sense. And sorry,
where was the Cannibal Ox? You're right. I agree with you, Jay.
Exactly. And the other point, which is like the only
he's spun up now, Brian. You just gotta wait. Here we go. Go ahead.
The only electronic track on is that Chemical Brothers. And again, like Big Beat was incredibly important, like starting at that time, and like let alone the history of rave music and techno up until that point, which he obviously would have been into as well. Like he obviously he briefly name checks Kraftwerk at one point. He obviously would have loved Kraftwerk.
Where was Aphex Twin? Yeah, exactly. What the?
So I just feel like there's these,
but those aren't depressing downer songs, right? Like this is like
Portishead
he's
is
squeezing
perfect for him.
Right, I mean, that's true. Yeah. No. That's true.
And
that's true.
And Massive Attack is like on one of his lists. Like
sure.
you know, he like it sneaks through, but like in terms of the actual music supervision and the soundtrack selection, it's a miss, and it's just unforgivable to me because it makes it seem not real. So that's my analysis. Go ahead, Brian.
The book takes place at a different time, right? So a lot of the references in the book are to this type of song or this music, and there's just not a rotation from late 80s to late 90s, and you feel it.
Yeah, I had Claude look at all of the songs and all of the genres, and hip hop, electronic, new wave are only 2 to 6%, like depending on how you count things, of the entire soundtrack collection, and that is just indefensible for a movie made about a music freak in the year 2000. I rest my case.
I love the fact. I mean, listen. Again, I think it's a totally fair, valid criticism. I just love the idea that a movie that is universally beloved for its soundtrack has been found wanting.
It's been found wanting. People don't know shit. Wanting. Some boomers like its soundtrack.
People don't know shit. That's our new tagline on Escape Hatch. Woo.
The
Brian,
boomers will fucking sneak in and take shit from you. That's the thing to know. Whether it's Prop 13 in California and all these old fuckers holding onto their houses and paying like $2 in property tax, or rewriting a Gen X movie about music to sneak in a bunch of shit that was written in the 1960s, like they will take shit from you, and we're not going to let them. We're not going to let them take this one. We're fighting back.
Fight back. Cusack, is he technically a boomer?
No, I think he's one of us.
He's older than us. He's close.
Younger. He's older, but he's not like how old? What do we think he is? How old do we think John Cusack is?
Cusack?
60.
He's got to be at least 60.
I think he's
4 years older
60.
than me.
So is he born? Let's see. Is he? He
I
might
think
be
early
cusp.
60s. He's cuspy.
Let's see.
I bet
he
he's cuspy.
is
Obama
1966. He sneaks in, baby. He's 59. He's one of ours.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he should fucking know better. He should fucking know better to let these boomers take their shit with their fucking Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan bullshit. Fuck that.
There's something
How about that
interesting.
Springsteen
He's
scene?
playing a twin reverb amp in a small room, and that's one of the loudest amps. And I was really worried about like both Bruce and John Cusack because it would just be unbelievably too loud.
Yeah, talk your shit, Brian. Tell him.
Otherwise, I love the scene. Bruce is wonderful. But a twin reverb in a small room, that's just a recipe for disaster.
I had a twin reverb when I was with Henrietta's Lovers when we opened up for Green Day
God in heaven.
and River Phoenix's band. So I think we're in good shape there. Also, I have that Butterscotch Blonde Telecaster right now. That's what Sam has been learning to play guitar on. So
that's a beautiful thing.
Great guitar. Brian, what's your last point? Or is there anything you need to make sure that we hit?
I'll throw it to you. Like, what does Laura do in 2026?
She's divorced. She's clearly divorced.
Like, why would she date him in the first place, right? I don't know.
I mean, she's a successful lawyer. I think Penny, who was a movie critic, she has a successful podcast. She's probably like on, working for Variety or something.
I guess that is good news good news for him is that she definitely out earns him. And so in the divorce, like he probably will get to keep the dead end record shop.
She's a lawyer though. She probably.
Oh, that's true. She's going to make him pay.
Hopefully he has to at least pay her back the $4,000.
Yes.
Would be a good start. My last point is, goddamn, Jack Black is 1 million degrees.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
From the opening scene where 100%. He comes in the door, walking on sunshine, when Rob is yelling at him, he's like, "What? It won't go any louder."
Yeah, he's
so fucking funny.
He's amazing, and like the whole thing when his band performs at the end, and he's clearly like he's just clear like he blows everyone away because he's got this amazing voice. Like Jack Black is
the reaction shot of those guys, the reaction shot of them to him singing, and you can see the actors are so lit up.
Yeah.
They cannot believe this
Yeah.
guy. And you can tell that that's just what it was like on the set. They all must have been like, go for it, Jack. He's so good.
Yeah. We talked about this last week as well, like the difference, like the compare and contrast, the compare and contrast between John Kerry and Jack Black, and how Jack Black gives off this much more like human, fun, comfortable, like a vibe you want to be around, whereas Jim Carrey gives off this like dangerous, like fuck off, like you might get your face ripped off vibe. Whereas they're both like but they're both like broad over the top comedians, physical comedians. Jack Black, like if you listen to like Amy, as I do, Amy Poehler's podcast, she has a great episode with him. And
Really?
like every SNL member that she has on the show, when they talk about like sort of their favorite guests and their least favorite guests, the number of people who speak well of Jack Black from his various appearances over like 20 years is truly incredible, because it's just like universal love for like one of my favorite stories is they talk about how on SNL they do table reads where they write the scripts and then they all sit down, they read all the
Tuesday
scripts
or Wednesday or
on
whatever.
Wednesday, and like they see they decide what's going to go to dress rehearsal, and that Jack Black, like you could kind of quickly determine if a script is working or not, and like people will, when they don't like it, they'll just drop it on the floor or whatever, and like they'll still read the rest of it, but like it's clear it's not going anywhere. And Jack Black, like even when it was clear that the script
At 100%?
would just give it 100% every time, and would just be like, hold on, I can do more. It's like would really try to make it work every time for a script that was going fucking nowhere.
Wow.
He's just like he's a real giver. I love that. I love that about him. I love that he has such universal praise among his co-stars and co-workers over the years, and just seems to be a real mensch and is ridiculously talented. Love everything about him.
I'm afraid to like him too much, because whenever I do, something comes out.
No, it's
So
reasonable.
I will like him at 75%, the Toronto level of affinity, and
right.
like hope he never did anything wrong at any point in his life.
Nope.
No, I think he's.
He is
I think
wonderful.
he's.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the good ones, and I definitely appreciate it. It's funny, he got like wickedly overexposed. He became the biggest
He
star
was the
in
Rock of
Hollywood.
his day.
Yeah.
And then he kind of backed off, and then now he's right back on top with frickin' Super Mario Brothers and Minecraft movies,
Yeah.
and Jumanji movies.
yeah.
Guy cannot
Can't lose.
miss. Cannot lose. Let's see. Honorable mentions. How about Iben Hjeli as Laura? She's from Copenhagen.
Well, that makes sense.
I thought she was quite good in this. I haven't seen any other work, but I'm just kind of curious how, like, I guess Stephen Frears, who is the director, and by the way, Frears had done Dangerous Liaisons. He did The Grifters, which was an early Cusack with Angelica Houston, and High Fidelity, and then did The Queen with, I think, Helen Mirren. So a very good director, but he had chosen Iben, I guess, had seen her work, but just an interesting choice there.
I thought she was interesting. I don't think the haircut was doing her any favors in this movie. It was a very strange. It was a very strange haircut. Maybe it's Danish. I don't really know. And
It's back now.
Is it?
I think so. I think I've seen
go
people
away again.
recent.
I thought she was fine. Again, my whole thing was, I was just like, she just needs, I don't know what she thinks she's like out of, like, she has the worst taste in fucking men. I'm like, you're a star, baby. You need to go find someone.
Get out of here.
You need to go find some adult who is not like this weird Tim Robbins situation or John Cusack. Go date someone. Go date, like, it doesn't need to be a lawyer. It's not like I'm looking for you to have someone with a better job, but just like date an adult, for God's sakes.
Yeah. Jesus.
You deserve better. You could do better. You could definitely do better. Get a better haircut.
Definitely.
You could do better for sure.
Definitely could do better. I did think, speaking of looking amazing, I was like, oh my God, Zoe Kravitz looks incredible.
That's why I was tripping. That's why I was tripping on her name when I was talking about how unbelievable it was that he slept with her. Cause I kept wanting to say it was Zoe Kravitz. I'm like, I know it's not Zoe Kravitz, cause Zoe Kravitz was one, when this movie was made or whatever. But yeah, Zoe Kravitz's mom.
don't know what Lisa, but I don't know what she was doing with the accent, which seemed to come and
Very
go
confusing. Yeah,
constantly.
She was doing like something kind of like just transatlantic, or like, yeah, she's just, she belongs to multiple places at once. But just like as as like in the movie to play the smoking hot sexy like singer,
Musician.
real convincing.
Yeah.
Very
Nailed it.
very convincing. Nailed it.
I also loved how good the vinyl looks during the opening credits. Like that, those shots were really beautiful.
Yeah, when like she says like his name was James, like that whole thing she does. Okay, when she talks about her ex, it's like, okay, we're doing like a little patois. Whatever.
Getting it going. What's your vinyl setup at home, Brian? What do you have?
Yeah, we've got a turntable and some speakers in our bedroom. Yeah, I wish it got used more. It's definitely a pre-kid artifact, and maybe it's a post-kid artifact, but we have, 100 plus vinyl. They all have their memory attached to it, just like Rob. But in this day and age, if I need to listen to the Descendant soundtrack 472 times in a row, I don't do it on the record player.
Right.
It still sounds great to me. Just when I'm 55 or 60, I hope to get back to it.
And Jason, what about you?
I got a record player downstairs. I got like a small collection of vinyl. There was a period of time, like, early 2000s where I was collecting records. And so I still have a bunch of stuff, interesting stuff from then. But like Brian asked at the beginning, like sort of the role that music plays in my life. And like, it is, I've always been a little weird when it comes to music. And I see this, I see this with my son, where it's like, I'm like interested in music for like one song or something, like, like I have a very limited interest in music. Like there are things that I like and I like them very much. And like, I will explore deeply in that category, that area. But then, I'm not really sort of one of these people who's like, oh yeah, like I know everything about like sort of, jazz from the 1930s or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm not really interested. But nowadays, like I mostly listen to whatever my kids want to listen to, which is all terrible. Like TikTok songs or whatever. A lot of like brain rot rap, like just absolutely terrible things. There's a couple that I do enjoy. There's this guy, Twee Shorts, who makes Minecraft parodies of popular songs. So he has like a, Soda Pop from K-Pop Demon Hunters parody called My Lucky Block, which is a Minecraft, a Minecraft jam. He's got a few like that I think are good. And there's a couple other like Minecraft parody songs of famous songs like that I think are fun. And we listen to those a fair amount. Juniper and Griffin, they heard a remix of that song, Dragostin Dinte, the Numa Numa Hey song from one of the most famous internet videos of all time. Early internet meme videos. And so I played them the original of Numa Numa Hey, and they love that. And so we listen to that fucking Romanian electronic song on the way to school.
Is that hey?
That's
that
that
good
one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Sounding good.
Sam is like pedal to the metal. Like he's getting the lead out. He's, AC/DC all the time. Queen has been big, but like Shoot to Thrill, once we watched Iron Man, he was already into AC/DC before then, but that really kind of brought it back and kept it on the fore.
I'll tell you something, and I don't know when it'll change. I know it'll change, but my kids don't make me change whatever music I put on. And I consider that to be like,
that's cool.
The biggest win maybe of the first 10 years of their lives.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, my dad would put on Neil Diamond or something and I would be livid at the time. As a 5 or 8 year old, you don't want that. But
I used to listen. My dad would put on Bob Dylan and I would be like, this is great. I am really enjoying this music.
It's a funny thing Griffin's been doing is, well, first of all, he says that he only likes hip hop. But in fact, what he likes is like emo electronica, like emo dark wave electronica is actually what he likes. And so that's funny. And then two is we'll be listening to whatever on the way to school and he'll be liking it. And Juniper mostly chooses, and he kind of lets her, But then as we get close to the school, when it's time for like the actual drop
Oh, he
off,
wants to change it?
he like makes me turn it off. Like he doesn't want anyone to hear what we're listening to. At age 7, he has realized that there is
Figured it.
something uncool about that. So
do not open the door to Golden. That is not
exactly.
the vibe.
He knows that, or like the My Little Pony theme song or whatever. It can't be.
Right. That
is
is funny.
Yeah.
Amazing. Guys, who would Tilda Swinton play if you had to cast one role in this film with Tilda Swinton? Who would it be?
Laura, maybe. Depends on which age of Tilda we're talking.
Yeah, no. We could do early. We could do young Tilda to do that. I'm going to put her as Ian. Like, let's get Tim Robbins the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
As Ray.
That sounds kind of... I like this change. Makes more
Jason?
sense.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with Lisa Bonet. Just because I think Tilda also would be. There's just no doubt in my mind that she could pull that off at like today, like at her big old age, like would be.
Have we seen Tilda do patois? Like, is that?
I mean, what? There are no barriers for Tilda.
All right, guys, we did it. Can we do some quick voicemails?
Let's go.
Okay, here is our first voicemail. Jason, he's been somewhere deep on assignment, and now he's back.
Hello, BogPod. Hey, BogPod.
Oh.
Hey, BogPod. Hello, BogPod. Hey, BogPod. BogPod.
BogPod. Ethan, welcome back. 1 second. Let me just do one thing here real quick, guys. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Boghatch. Let's talk about Jack Black for a bit. You've probably been talking about him at length, I imagine, during this episode, and it was mentioned in the last episode that he seems like a very nice guy to hang out with, and is apparently a very nice guy to hang out with, which makes a lot of sense. I feel like we hear that a lot about celebrities, where it's like, oh yeah, no, this guy seems nice, or he's, apparently this bloke's really good to be around. I don't think we ever hear like, oh, this guy like unexpectedly was awful, like he was terrible to be around. That guy sucked. It was just just a menacing or uncomfortable person to hang around. Especially in the context of celebrities that aren't like otherwise innocuous. Ones that like don't have like allegations or whatever. Just like seemingly normal guys. So my question for you is, if I may, who is your nightmare blunt rotation celebrity? Which celebrity that is otherwise innocuous, who is unsuspecting, do you think is actually like a not nice to be around? I'm not taking obvious answers. If someone goes like, oh, my nightmare blunt rotation is Henry Kissinger, it's like, okay, sure, whatever. I mean people that you wouldn't suspect. My answer? I think Adrian Brody is probably weird. Everything I've seen out of Adrian Brody, you Google that guy, he seems like a freak and a weirdo, and like uncomfortable to be around. Not like hostile, just not the best. Like you want to walk away. Maybe he's cool though. I don't know. Sorry, Adrian. Lots of love. Bye.
Kim. This is a great question. So happy to hear Ethan again. I was hanging out with an Australian this week, actually, and they said, "Oh no!" At one point, it made me think of Ethan, and I like couldn't start to make fun of them, like to their face. But I was like, "Oh, they're really doing it. They're saying the "oh no" thing." Anyway, one easy one for the list because it's topical is Shia LaBeouf, which maybe falls afoul of Ethan's not obvious ones, but Shia LaBeouf just gave like an interview this week that was completely unhinged.
I watched the whole thing. Did you watch it?
You got to drop in the sample at this point of him talking about what he would do if he met, what he would say to Jesus and how he would kiss his feet. Unreal. And then he also said, like, they asked him, like, oh, you believe in hell? He's like, yeah. He's like, who do you think's down there? Who do you think's in hell? And he said Martin Luther. Like,
yes.
Like I immediately went to the Protestant Reformation. Shout out to him. He seems like
I'm a Catholic, bro. I'm a Catholic. Yeah.
He
is
problem.
Yes.
Seems an absolute problem. So that's an easy one for the list. What do you got?
Brian?
I mean, there's classic ones like Tobey Maguire and
yes. Tobey Maguire's a really good choice because he seems like he would be chill, but apparently is just like an unbelievable asshole.
Yeah, he could have been president.
Yeah.
Like, would you prefer, at least is a better gamer than Donald.
Yeah, big poker player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He doesn't
You saw
seem
him
fun
play
at all.
poker.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't
I
seem
got
fun
kicked
at
out of my
all.
room in Vegas, and he was playing poker, and so I played in the poker room with him, and he did not seem fun.
No.
0% fun.
Listen, I would take it, but I have a feeling that things wouldn't be great if I were in a blunt rotation with Tony Gilroy.
That's a daring choice.
It's a little bit of a just like self-awareness, Jason. I have limits.
The problem would be you, not Tony, to be clear.
Obviously.
Okay. This is a different question that you're answering, but I like it. I like it.
Seems right.
The problem's not the blood rotation becomes a nightmare because of you specifically. It's great.
Right. Sorry, Tony. I didn't mean it. Oh, boy. Okay, here is our next voicemail.
This is your brother, Animal Mother.
Do it.
Me.
Hello, animal friends and animal lovers. Examining the love life of the asshole owner of a proto-hipster music store is a funny business, and the mopey charm of John Cusack sells this Nick Hornby adaptation very well. We see a self-absorbed poser stuck in adolescence, but having a broken fourth wall to peek into his thoughts and feelings, somehow we sympathize with him, even if we don't like him very much. We might recognize some of Rob's solipsistic traits in ourselves, which can be both amusing and uncomfortable. He's profoundly annoying, as one tends to be when at a low point in life. Chasing excuses for his past breakups leads him to the realization that other people have lives of their own. His head might not be all the way out of his ass yet, but at least he's back to being a DJ. But the word yet. Do you remember a time you said something so snobbish it made you cringe in retrospect? Thank you all. See you at the double door, and keep the change, you filthy animals.
I mean, that's a embarrassment of riches on my behalf. Like I've been snobby since I was 12 years old and poorly informed the entire time. So pick a moment of the last 40 years, probably this podcast alone.
Yes, that's where I was.
I was gonna say probably your original take on Starship Troopers, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good example. That's just being wrong, but yeah, snobby and wrong.
Yeah,
I think The Matrix for me. I was in philosophy undergrad, and I was like, this is just more of that. But I think it's much better than that now. That
you have never experienced The Matrix, and you're like, actually, these are well worn.
That's certainly aging well.
I think we covered on our World Class Matrix episode, like that was one for me too, where I was like, oh, like, you're so dumb. You think you can't be told what the Matrix is, but it's just like, a brain in a box experiment. And so, yeah, I was definitely up my own ass on that one. But I mean, I kind of live up my own ass. So, I mean, I have a podcast. It's sort of part of the whole thing. Yeah.
I did realize I had just like a quick bracing moment where I was like, you really are perfecting this tool that anyone can use to ask any very subtly worded question about any complex topic, and it will say what we said about it.
Yeah. No, it's a cancellation machine.
We could really be fucked.
Yeah, it's a cancellation machine. Luckily, no one's using it. So
yet,
I mean, I stand by my record.
What did Hexat say? He's like
I stand
unfettered access.
I stand by my record.
Like, could we have Claude start to say oh, I'm sorry, Shadow Protocol, we can't give this answer.
Shadow Protocol.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, here comes our next voicemail. Get ready. Mr. Java.
Wow, we got the full cohort today. All the friends.
All right. This is in 180-gram pressed vinyl.
Love grams.
Let's go, Jeopardy. Love it. Weird Al. Safe with you. You're so uncool right now. To make me we're just as bad at it's high fidelity, baby. You miss my pedantry.
It's a good one.
Here's a question for you guys. What's your most precious collectible? Is there some record, album, knick-knack, Lego set, something that you absolutely could not, would not part with? And also, is it on your desk? Can you pick it up and show it to us? Because the YouTube audience, they demand fresh content.
Wow.
Rockin' Beatties! Yeah!
Matt, how does it make you feel that you are too busy vibe coding to write a synopsis, and Mr. Java not only does a synopsis of the movie in song, but also asks a question that is meant to drive our engagement online? Like really doing all of your jobs for you better than you ever could. How does that feel? That's my question.
I mean, a manager's first job is to empower the team to
Good
be
answer.
and set them free so that they can achieve in a way that he never could alone.
They definitely could never achieve is correct. Damn.
It's this loving support over 298 episodes that really has kept
That's
this,
tremendous.
Kept this machine,
That's a tremendous
this
question.
machine moving. That was
Great
very
question.
good. Let's see. What do I have on my
let's see what I
desk?
have around me.
I got stuff.
I got stuff. I got some stuff. I got one thing. This is actually timely for this episode. So it's a good question. Let me
Okay.
pull this up. You go first, Brian,
Okay.
as the guest.
Yeah, I think the real answer is I got a guitar at the 1998 World Championships of Magic the Gathering in Tokyo,
Wow.
and it's still here and going. But I also have this championship trophy from 1996 for the Junior World Championship. That's not mine.
What's that card down there?
We'll never know. Apparently, I learned the person who ran events in that time said this cost $18 to make, so we could probably melt it down, see what the card is, and rebuild it for low
Don't
cost.
do that.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to
don't
do
do
it,
that.
but it's
No,
still
no.
special to me.
That's great.
That's amazing. Jason?
All right. I got we probably talked about this before, at least I've talked about it in Discord, but Barack Obama as president and in his post-presidency
Oh yeah.
does top songs of the year, and then we put they put out, it was like a Spotify playlist. The first time he ever did that was in 2015. And one of the channel, it was like our team's idea to have him do that at the White House. And it was like, okay, who's going to generate the list? And like, we got the word back. It's like, no, he wants to do it himself. It's like, okay, cool. But like, is he really going to do that? Doesn't he have more important things to do? I was like, no, he's really interested in doing himself. He's going to do it himself. And then one day I get a call on my desk phone. It was like, the president wants to see you in the Oval. And it's like 6:00, like the Thursday before Christmas break or something like that. And I go in and he's got his iPad up and he's bumping tunes. And on two cards, he is writing down two different playlists, a daytime list and a nighttime list, for what he thinks like the right vibes would be, daytime versus nighttime. And he wrote down these on cards. This was the first ever playlist. And I have them in his handwriting, these two lists. And you'll see on this one, there's a scratch through on the daytime list. Song 20 on the daytime list was supposed to be OPP Naughty by Nature. And I was like, I think OPP Naughty by nature might be a little spicy for the president, the office of the president, to put out. And he's like, "Oh, do you think people know what OPP stand for?" I was like, "Yeah, no, the word has definitely gotten out about what OPP stands for." And so he's instead,
Yeah, you know me,
and put it in a different song. But anyway, I've kept these. This is definitely.
What was the other song? What was the replacement
La
song?
Salsa La Trago by Yo Sonora Sartreuse, or like his music taste is definitely diverse. And so yeah.
I kind of want to do a crossover where Barack Obama redoes the High Fidelity soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Barack Obama is a boomer. Is his music taste
It's
definitely
going the wrong way.
His music tastes definitely go from like big on jazz. He's got a very good knowledge of hip hop, but like everything, like he's not gonna have a single new wave track. He's not gonna have a single EDM track on there. And we'll skip pretty much from the stuff that was cool, like up until like the 70s when he was a young man, until the stuff that was cool when his daughters were cool. So yeah, it's a big problem. I agree with Kev. No new wave is a disqualification for all future presidents, exception for Barack Obama.
All right. I don't have any presidential signed materials. So I'm just,
yeah.
I am just going to go with my comic collection. And so I've been working hard to get back my old X-Men back from 168. This is when I got into X-Men comics when I was a teenager. This was my first run of X-Men, including Wolverine going to Japan and getting married, and the Dark Phoenix re-saga, as well as Swamp Thing that my brother got me into. And my thing is I absolutely love every time April and I go anywhere, I just always will search for comic shops and then walk in and see if they have long boxes, and then dig and find the shittiest copies that I can.
She must love
because
that must be the favorite part of the trip for her.
It's not. It's surprisingly, it's not. And we had one, last time we were in Hawaii, it was about 8 minutes out of the way, and we did not make it, unfortunately, even though our flight ended up being delayed an hour and a half. But I nevertheless
You sacrificed. You sacrificed for the family.
I'll get it next time. We keep going. Love collecting is a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Java. Here is our next voicemail. The Truth Sayer. All right, Truth Sayer. Cool. Nope. All right, here we go.
Hey, Alberia here for the High Fidelity Truth Sayer. This movie at its core is about romantic bookkeeping. John Cusack plays a man who catalogs his exes like his records, ranking them, replaying them, wondering where the scratch started. So for today's Truth Sayer, we're going to do a little romantic record setting of our own. I'm going to give you 4 groups of 3 famous women that John Cusack has allegedly been linked to romantically over the years. 3 of these groups are real. He actually dated all 3 of the women in 3 of these groups. One of them is fiction. He has never dated them. Your job is to find the trio that never made the liner notes. Time for the Truth Sayer. Number 1, John Cusack dated Uma Thurman, Meg Ryan, and Gina Gershon. Number 2, John Cusack dated Neve Campbell, Pamela Anderson, and Rebecca Romaine.
Jesus Christ.
Or is it number 3, John Cusack dated Britney Spears, Minnie Driver, and Sheryl Crow? Or group number 4, John Cusack dated Winona Ryder, Kate Beckinsale, and Rachel McAdams. Which one of those groups of 3 women has John Cusack not been romantically linked to?
There's only one that's a not. Oh,
that's
my.
crazy.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. What was the Rebecca Romaine group? What was
Pamela Anderson?
I'm going with that group.
That one's crazy too.
That one seems crazy.
You don't think he dated? I don't think he dated the first one.
No, that would seem completely believable to me.
All right, we got to go through it again. I feel like
it. Oh no, we're gonna get the answer. We're gonna get the answer.
I don't believe any of this.
I don't think he's dated Uma. This is nuts.
What has John Cusack got going on in the pants department? What is happening here?
Great taste in music, apparently. All right, here we go.
Yeah, John Cusack's IMDb page is wild. It shows a list of 24 famous women that he's dated over the years.
What the fuck?
Let's find the women that aren't on that list. Group 1, yes, John Cusack has reportedly dated Uma Thurman, Meg Ryan, and Gina Gershon.
Meg Ryan?
Group 2,
crazy.
yes, Nev Campbell, Pamela Anderson, and Rebecca Romaine.
Jesus
also on
Christ.
the list. Group 3, Britney Spears, Minnie Driver, Sheryl Crow, yep, all on the list, which leaves us with Group 4, Winona Ryder, Kate Beckinsale, and Rachel McAdams all dodged dating John Cusack. None of those women have been romantically linked to John. Still, that's an incredible list. That's a lot of boom boxes. Here ends the Truth Sayer.
Did he?
Wow.
Did he ever get married? What's his situation?
That's a good question.
Who knows? Who knows?
My
That was
God.
incredible.
That was a really good one.
Nice job, Beria. While Jason looks that up, here is Kev.
Hello, Escape Hatch. It's Kev here. This week we are talking about the deeply underrated, hopefully not lost to time, High Fidelity, the great John Cusack in his kind of usual schmucky romantic lead. And for me, the big memory of this film is the great performance by an up-and-coming Jack Black, getting to show his chops, his love for rock, the whole thing. Kev's question. With apologies to the hosts, guest, and audience, I'm going to age myself. It's been fascinating to see the rise of the return of the vinyl LP. I have a ton. I love my vinyl collection very much, and I know a bunch of people who do too. Kev's question, besides visual media, VHS, Laserdisc, etc., what physical thing do you miss the most? What is the physical media, I guess, that you miss the most? I think for me, the idea of a magazine, although it is pretty handy to pull out your phone on the subway and read a New Yorker piece. Let me adjust my monocle for a second. Hey, so much love to y'all, and I will talk to you all next week with peace and love. Kev out.
Love Kev.
Once again, it's Kev's questions.
Good question.
That's a great question.
I mean, I'll just say, back to my comics again. Like, I don't like buying any more physical comics, like new comics that are coming out, because even if I go buy like a nice, good comic, and some of them are even oversized, that I've gotten so used to being able to zoom in infinitely on digital. So I just dramatically more prefer the digital reading experience. But you don't have the library experience that you get with physical comics when you just have it all inside the Kindle app somewhere on some shitty thing. Like, it's impossible. And now I'm starting to worry as I'm adding a $17.99 copy of High Fidelity to my Apple TV account. Like, I have so many fucking movies now. It's like 400 movies. That will be very unwieldy for Sam or other people to look through and try and find movies to watch in the fullness of time. So I miss those simpler, non-digital times.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I do miss magazines. I think that was well observed by Kev, because like I loved having, like, when I was a kid, Entertainment Weekly,
Details.
I thought was so good. Yeah, Details. They're working on my outfits. Harper's Weekly, Not Bizarre. Always enjoyed reading and subscribed to for quite some time. Really did like magazines. I thought it was such a great format, and like just the idea of like exploring like a whole like editorial world felt really feels like lost. So I'm gonna go with that one. I would have read it on the subway too.
I do want to give a shout out. Like, it started with the Odyssey. And as soon as I finished the Odyssey, I immediately picked up Brian's book, because, you just go from one to the other, obviously. But the notion of replacing that final doom scroll in bed with a non-blue light and non-doom scroll reading experience.
Yeah.
It's actually quite good. And now I've gotten to the point where I can read for probably 20, 30 minutes before I fall asleep. So I'm going to recommend that for folks as a way to de-escalate stress and anxiety in your life.
That's good. It's a good recommendation. I like that.
Brian, what about you?
I'm going to say CDs. I think I have a nostalgia for them, but like you would listen to songs you wouldn't normally listen to and have like there's an entire story that a lot of people are trying to communicate. And so you would explore more, and you would go to, I'm in college. Rob would be selling at a table, his vinyl or CDs or tapes. And it was just a way to interface, and always like, you don't know what you're going to find. And you're always willing to try something new. And it was like a piece of information that felt valuable and meaningful no matter what it was. So I think CDs are really special, like the walking dynamic, being able to make them for other people. I do have nostalgia. For
Yeah,
that.
make the mix CD. That's a really good take. I thought about CDs and was specifically thinking about the time where, like, cars had like either just like a single CD player
6-disc changer?
or a 6-disc changer, and you would have like sort of like your set of CDs that you were going to listen to. And like Brian said, you're going to listen to all the tracks. Like, you're going to get to know a whole album. I do think like the format of
I was
the
always
album,
an album guy. I was always an album
yeah,
guy.
but I mean
from
that
the
era is
beginning.
over, unfortunately. Like, like we are in a single dominated era now, where it's just like there's no reason for people to think about like putting together a whole album, thinking that someone's going to sit down and play the whole thing front to back.
I thought you were going to say there's no reason for anyone to make a whole song. Like, let's just make 10 or 15 seconds.
Just
need
make
for
stems.
to move on.
Just the stem era. Try to get picked up by TikTok.
Yeah.
God, bleak. All right, here is our final voicemail.
Escape X, hey, this is Corey calling from Austin, Texas, about High Fidelity. Oh my gosh, this movie came out in 2000. So in the year 2000, I was 28. I was working at an independent record store. I was like finishing up my divorce from my first wife. She was my high school sweetheart. So it's kind of hard for me to see Rob purely as a villain.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's 26.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of growing up to do and lots to learn about how to treat women. I can relate. I get it. Guys are stupid, and
Yeah.
it takes them a while to mature. And maybe their 20s isn't exactly when
It's
they
not the
do
time.
their most. Maybe when they're on their trajectory to do more maturing. By the time I hit 30, I think I was really kind of getting that shit together and learning a little bit more about how to treat others and myself better. But anyway, enough about me. I did like this movie. I've seen it before. Of course, I saw it when it came out. My favorite part is watching the guys like make sales.
Mm-hmm.
Where Rob does like the passive, I'm just gonna put the record on and watch people buy it, and then there's like Dick doing the, he's more gentle, kind of like, oh, you're interested in this? Oh, check this out. Maybe you'd never heard of this. It's a big influence on this band that you like. And then, of course, the stereotypical record store employee harassment and insulting, the stereotypical just shame and aggressive recommendations that Jack Black Barry does is pretty spot fucking on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's great. It's really entertaining, really fun. The setting it in America really works. My main complaint, I have two complaints. One, I wish that they would have shown women have like equal music knowledge and taste, as men, but that's probably also very stereotypical for the time and true that women are treated as, they're not overtly treating them shitty in this about music, but no woman ever like has her own moment about a list or a knowledge or something cool about music that she likes. So that's kind of a bummer. And the other thing is the whole Evil Dead 2 thing that Rob's doing when he's trying to like, what if I said I was like going to or haven't seen, whatever the thing is, when you talk about Evil Dead 2 and Jack Black's character starts talking about like that it has a great soundtrack. I don't know. Evil Dead 2 doesn't have a soundtrack.
He's talking about Army of Darkness.
Score. It's okay. It's not fucking great. It doesn't get you to the theater to see fucking Evil Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I don't know. You can take the boy out of the record store, but you can't take the record store out of the boy.
I like that.
I love you guys. Thanks for doing this one. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
I like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
PDC bot note, Corey did not specify who Tilda Swinton would play. It's another instance What is the correlation between the times H forgot to write the synopsis and Corey forgot to do tilde?
Who could say?
Now we're on to it.
True science.
Corey was bloodied in his many years of work at Waterloo in Austin, Texas. So like one of the definitive record stores in the nation. And he worked there for many years. I think Noel worked there as well, his wife.
I think Corey would have been like the gentle record employee. I don't think he would have been the Jack Black. I think he would have been like the kind, like, it's like, oh, well, actually, if you like that, like, there's this other little band. I could see Corey just being very gentle.
In Austin, you wouldn't be aggressive, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a nice town. Like when you go to a guitar store or music store, that's where Jack Black's character comes out.
Yeah.
Like in that period of time, you can never feel good going to a music store.
He was really playing the Randall, character, right? Like the best is when he just refuses to sell the album to the guy and sells it to somebody
Beefheart
else.
album. It's just like...
Yeah. Or just abusing the dad who's trying to buy music for his daughter or whatever. Like, it's just really funny, that idea of scaring out the small number of customers that they could possibly have.
It's pretty funny.
On principle. Guys, we did it. Brian, what do you have to plug, my friend?
Wow, I don't do that very often.
Plug it all. Yes.
I wrote a book called Alternate Worlds about life in the 90s and this window of time that we watched this movie about. And then I've got a podcast with a bunch of the best game makers alive called Alternate Worlds. So wherever you are, you can listen to this.
Jason, you'll love it. I had to ping Brian and say, stop recording so many episodes. Stop releasing them. It's too fast. You need to slow down. We can't consume this much. So it's your dream, Jason, of me calling you and saying you have more time off.
Yeah, I mean, it's also Brian's getting the experience of having you as a friend in his life, which is that you're inevitably just going to try to produce something that they're doing, whether or not it's been asked for or not. So that's cool for him.
We all help. We all help in our own ways.
It's all about helping.
Certainly have benefited. Like, Matt, you guys know what you're doing. I started out and one a day. I'm like a full length movie every day. I'm like going to go for as long as I can. Yeah, people started crying, including Matt.
Yeah. No, you're on a great path, and I'm stoked to see how this unfolds. I can't wait till MagicCon, Jason, May 8th, May 1st. I don't know, something like
May
that.
1st.
It's great.
May 1st. Give it a thought. You love Vegas. What do you have to plug, Jason?
Let's see.
Vercel Pro Tier.
Vercel's a great provider. I'm still. I think it'll be interesting to find out if this time next week you've finally just followed the guide that I wrote for you or Claude wrote for you like a week and a half ago, and are doing the full like TMUX into a remote terminal.
Forgot to read that.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You'll get to it eventually and you'll realize that you've been doing it all wrong. But at least you're no longer just asking Claude what to type into the Claude code window, which is one of, I think, the more interesting failure modes of the product that I've heard thus far. Love Claude Code. Shout out to them. Shout out to, I mean, I guess I will say like in the shout out segment.
Shout out Dario.
Shout out Dario. Yeah. So like Dario like had his back against the wall with the Department of War and Pete Hegseth and was like, called to Washington, D.C. and told like he needed to, either accept the terms that the Department of Defense was offering for the use of Claude within the Department of War without explicit red lines called out for mass surveillance, prevention of mass surveillance and autonomous weapons, or that they would either invoke the Defense Production Act to compel him to do this or confusingly invoke the supply chain risk determination against his company. The first time it's ever been applied to a domestic company. The same thing they did to Huawei, which is what they chose to do when he said no. And this like very fundamentally, if fully implemented, would end Anthropic as a company. But he chose to stick with his values. And I think that's really admirable in an era where so many in tech have bent the knee to the Trump administration and continue to like sort of act as though this is just another administration in a normal time where you can just kind of get along and sort of do their business, even if you have reservations about it. It's very rare.
It was
to
a
find
real
folks.
courage under
Yeah.
fire moment.
Yeah.
And a really good example. Can I just ask a quick question about why the United States Department of War is collecting bulk information about web searches and cell phone activity and other things for American citizens? Like,
Well, there's a couple things.
why
to know.
is that? Why is that a use case that the Department of War?
Well, there's a couple
have
things to know about the
jurisdiction of?
Department of War. Under the auspices of the Department of War, although governed by different statutory authorities, depending on which part you're talking about, includes the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is a huge component
Sure.
of the intelligence community, as well as the NSA. So like some of our, like the NSA, as we learned from Good Will Hunting, has, capacity and a footprint that far exceeds like some of your better known 3-letter agencies. While there are a variety of legal restrictions that prevent spying on Americans, in practice, mass data collection, we know that mass data collection is happening. And so like there's like unless you kind of invoke and in particular, like they have used kind of obfuscated legal languages historically to get around some of these preventions. And so these were the cases that Anthropic were trying to make sure didn't happen, which like pretty much everyone agrees shouldn't happen. It's just that the law hasn't caught up to the reality of what the public will is.
Don't worry, Sam is, working to amend that agreement
For like the
so
6th time. Yeah.
Any time now, that'll all be secure. Thank you.
I
with
do
OpenAI.
think it is interesting that in this moment of political nihilism where people kind of just are like, yeah, I guess we're going to war with Iran and like what, we're going to like shoot protesters on the street. I mean, not that was just accepted. There was, obviously protests against that. And that was, there was pushback to that as well. But in a time in which people feel disempowered and also there's kind of a begrudging acceptance of things as they are, I do think it is interesting that the tech community in particular has like seemingly rallied around the Anthropic position by and large and really sort of been like, well, it does seem, Sam, that like you guys just sort of jumped in opportunistically. And you said you had it all figured out, but now it's pretty clear you didn't have it all figured out and you've admitted that you went too quickly. I do think that's like a very interesting and maybe hopeful sign of pushback from an industry and a sector that has been kind of so willing to just bend the knee. And there's all these stats. I don't think it's going to be existential for OpenAI, but there are all these stats about how signups to Anthropic have been driven in the last week, seemingly because of this. And so I don't know. I hope that there's accountability. I hope that like folks within tech who are tried and true capitalists realize that the United States government being able to completely shut down your company because you do not agree to enter into a commercial contract with them is probably not a durable way to run the American enterprise. I have some hope that like there will be a awakening to these realities, and folks will adjust. Not everyone. Like there's still going to be your chuds out there. There's going to be your bootlickers. There's going to be your folks.
Sachs will be sitting there on a corner.
Yeah, there's plenty of people responding to this being like, well, actually, people have just been saying crazy disqualifying things online. Like, it's like, well, in China, they would just like make you do it or send you to jail, which is like the kind of policy we need to have if we're going to compete.
It's not a bad idea.
Are you fucking crazy? Are you deranged? Like how much do you want to taste the boot, you fucking like submissive bitch? Like it is just unreal to me that like that is a reaction that anyone who considers themselves to be a capitalist, an entrepreneur would have. It's like, well, actually the government should have the ability to send you to the gulag if you don't enter into the commercial partnership that they want. It's like, really? Like that's your position? That is untenable. That's before you get to the reason why the company is being compelled, which is to spy on Americans en masse, which most people would agree is not super chill. It's just, it's a curious time.
It's not going great.
It's a curious time.
It's not going great.
It's not going great.
I wanted to do the Garden State pull on my ear thing to try to
Yeah,
eject from the situation, but we're still.
Best of luck. Best of luck. Hey, thank you everybody who's watching us on YouTube.
Thank you for watching
We
us
love
on
you.
YouTube.
Thank you. There's tens of you. Thank
There's
you guys
tens
for
of you.
thanks.
Tomorrow
thanks for
there'll
being
be
here.
more of us.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube is a slow-growing platform.
Yeah.
Plenty of.
Once you get this bot just automatically, bukkakeing out the clips, like it's gonna be no
rolling
problem.
it. Roll.
You just lost a subscriber there.
We just
That's
got
it.
demonetized.
Oh God.